Breakdowns.
Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We are on episode... Oh, wait. Bert's not here to tell me what episode. It's 64. It's 64. Okay. 64. Today, I'm excited.
You should have had me come 5 later.
Come on.
5 later. We can be episode 69.
You know what? I got to think about that. Who's going to be number 69? Gonna be real hot. But I'm excited today. I got an old friend of mine here today, and I'm actually really pumped about this. But today I have Carlo I'm gonna mess up your last name. Decanini.
That's perfect.
Decanini. Okay.
Decanini
From
is
Big
what it
Story.
is.
Yeah. How you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great, man. Just excited to be here.
Yeah. Thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. Yeah, dude. I'm excited. I had heard about this project when you first joined it. You let me know about joining Big Story, and then I feel like just when you were like getting started, like everything shit hit the fan, and like, you know, what do you do now? How was that like going into like literally a new band, a new member, and then
it was,
pandemic?
It was pretty nuts. So when I joined the band, like I would say maybe like October or August to October of 2019. Because their bassist had, for whatever reason, I think their bassist, I'm not going to name drop or anything, but their bassist had gotten a larger tour opportunity.
Gotcha.
And so he decided to quit because he's not from DFW. He's from Temple, Waco area.
Oh, okay.
And so when they asked me to try out, I tried out, made the band, started learning all their material, started writing music with them. At that time, the song Rabbit that they had was on Sirius XM Octane.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they had they kind of had a lot of traction, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Everything was on an up and up, and they had some stuff in the books, and some stuff was supposed to happen. You know, I don't want to get too into the nitty gritty of the details, but like, everything was coming up roses, as they say. And then, we got, like I said, Rabbit was on, how if you listen to Sirius XM Octane, they're like, oh, this is like a heat seeker.
Yeah.
It was Big Story. So it was kind of exciting to like listen to that, knowing that I'm going to be a part of this cool new project, right? And then that was in February of 2020.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
So then, March of 2020 comes around, and everything shut down. The music business has never experienced a loss like that. No. That's why prices are so expensive right now, is because they're trying to recuperate everything. I don't know if you knew that.
Of like what?
Concerts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's just the same thing with insurance. Insurance is about to skyrocket as well.
Oh, don't say that. But it's I remember when you told, because you told me like right as you like joined, so I like knew about it, and then all that happens. I'm like, fuck, like what's happening now? But after all that time, like I would still see like little clips that you would put up of like working on music.
Yeah.
So joining the band, did you immediately start writing with them?
Yes.
Okay.
The big deal about me joining that band in its current state at the time was that I was also a big force in the writing. Mm-hmm. So they were kind of rocky at the time because they like kind of had a halt on their writing process.
Yeah.
And they wanted to bring in a new member so that they can continue to roll the dice, I guess, but they didn't want to do it in the way that they were doing it before. So they wanted to make sure that their new addition was a part of the songwriting.
Gotcha.
So they wanted, like, basically, if you talk to Dave and Ross, actually, I think they mentioned that they did an interview with Bernie Guerra.
Okay.
Guerra, which is on, the link is on the band's socials. Mm-hmm. But they talked about how they were like Spinal Tap, but with bass players.
What's
You know what I'm talking about?
No,
Have you ever seen
I've
Spinal
never seen
Tap?
Spinal Tap. People give me so much shit.
We gotta watch it, dude. It's so good. Well, in Spinal Tap, they go through drummers, and like the third drummer, the last drummer that they get, the one that they blow up with, he spontaneously blows up on stage, and that's how he dies. You know what I mean?
What the shit?
Yeah. But they were talking because they had. I don't know all of their names, but their first bass player wrote like some of the first half of their music, and then then they toured with like 2 other bass players, and then they got Pat, and the Pat was the one that they did all the big stuff with.
Okay,
and then me, you know, so they like wanted instead of all these journeyman people, they wanted somebody that was gonna like write and be more present in all of the aspects of the band.
So instead of like trying to get someone just to
play
fill
bass.
in or play bass or do something like let's find an actual member of the band.
Yeah.
Okay, so they came in with purpose of having that. So that probably made it easy for you to participate in that. Because at first I was thinking, because I was like, oh, like joining, especially like something like that's up and running, you know, it's already like got a good, like you were saying, like traction behind it, and then adding someone new and letting them like right into this. I'm like, oh, like was that like a hard transition? But it looks like that's what they were looking for.
It was. Randomly, I had written some stuff with my old band, Werewolf, Therewolf, that like never actually.
Shout out Werewolf Therewolf. I'm sorry, I'm the biggest werewolf. I'm gonna keep it cool. Continue.
So I had written some music for the old band that never actually got made.
Yeah.
And so like I brought it to Big Story. Werewolf, Therewolf, by the way, we didn't break up or anything. We just kind of all started focusing on different things.
Yeah.
I'm still cool with them. They ever ask us to play a show and everyone's down, I'm completely down to do that again.
It's going to be my life's mission to make this happen.
Daniel from Werewolf, Therewolf, the vocalist, and I are actually roommates and have been for 3 years. So there's no bad blood there at all. Anyway, so I had given Big Story some of that material to work with, and like maybe I don't know. I think we have like a half song there. I might go revisit it and put it out. But like that was all my like introductory process, you know, into this whole thing was, hey, you know, you can play. You're good at playing the bass, but you're also like a decent writer. So like that's all that there.
That's all. But I think that's really cool that you were able to like jump in, because you were, I mean, like it's not like you were just starting to write with this band. Like you've been writing for a while, like you were saying, and then you're talented as hell. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're really like a talented bassist, but like you're singing. So we were talking about like the newer stuff that you were writing, and I was like, oh, I feel like your voice is being highlighted more, because in Werewolf, Therewolf, like it was participated, but like
yeah, it was
Daniel
like a backup role.
And being able to hear you as lead, I'm like, oh, this is what like his lead vocals sound like. I'm like, and it's so cool. Like you have a really cool voice.
Thanks, man.
And you've been like not only like like how to sing and everything. Like you've been teaching for quite a bit. So
I was a full-time music teacher for, I don't know, I want to say like 15 years.
Oh my God. I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, no, I've been teaching people how to sing and play music and write music forever, man. I mean, I was teaching guitar while I was in college to like, you know, like people I played soccer with or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess those were like, you know, $20 lessons or whatever, you know, like buy me a case of beer and I'll teach you how to play. You can come over or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, as soon as I graduated, that was my first job. I worked at School of Rock when I was like 20, and then I worked at this place called Creative Soul, and then I worked at the Septian Group for like a long time. That was like, I stayed there, I think I want to say like 8 or 9 years there.
Wow.
And I ran an artist development program up there. It was pretty cool.
Really nice. Yeah. Okay. The first time I heard of you was Werewolf. Therewolf was like the first time that I got introduced to you, and that I don't remember. I think the first song I heard was like Currents off of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what? What is? I didn't know who it was. I literally like it was at the time where I wasn't too sure about like local music and stuff like that. Like I was in it, but it wasn't like in it. So I heard like part of it. But that next EP was the one that like I was like, wait, what the fuck? I go, people that I know like can make music like this. So it was really cool. But that's what like met, and then we kind of. I think we kind of just like bonded over heartbreak. I think if I'm not mistaken, like that's when we like really like started talking to each other.
Yeah, man.
I literally remember like I was probably like publicly like posting about being sad and shit, and it was basically like, "Oh, you're sad? Like me too." Like
that's basically it. Yeah, that's what it is. You know, it's crazy how tight the community here is, man. Like we're all friends, you know, and you know, if anyone needs help, I'm normally the first person to be like, hey, all right, let's get you out of your house. Let's go to a show and let's go grab lunch, whatever. Let's just talk about it, you know, because that's a lot of people, a lot of dudes specifically like to bottle everything in. Yeah. And like letting everything out is like, I think, really important for like men to do. And like not a lot of dudes do it. They just bottle and bottle and bottle and sink and sink and sink. And there's like a stigma that like, you know, you can't be vulnerable if you're a dude, or you can't be, you know, I don't know. That's my 2 cents on that kind of thing.
No, I think you're definitely right about that. Like there is a sort of stigma of, you'll experience it a lot, and just like maybe like earlier, I feel like now like the awareness is being spread around, like, oh, it's okay to be like, and then it's okay to have like, I feel like now it's really expressed how important it is to have like friends that you could do that to, and you know, you don't have to like vent to everybody or be able to vulnerable, but you have to like have your people that you're trusted with, and not be scared to express those emotions, because they're important. Which bringing it back for music, it's a fucking gold mine.
Well, that's where all music comes from. Kiddos. Comes from feelings of whatever, heartbreak, anger. I don't know. Sometimes you just, you know, like right now, a sneak peek into the future. So songs sometimes will have working titles, you know, so sometimes it's a music bed, meaning it's, I'm not trying to mansplain anything, but
mansplain it to me, it's fine. I'm okay.
Okay. Well, a song bed is basically just a track of music with no vocal. Okay. And so sometimes there's song beds, and in the case of our band, Big Story, we got like 70 tracks like that are at least ideas that have started.
What?
Yeah, man.
Holy shit.
I'll talk about the EP in a second, but we have a song. Let me finish this point. Normally there's so many of them that you just give them random names until there's lyrics to them, and then you change it to whatever the name of the song is, right? Yeah. Well, there was a song right now that we have a bed to, and I think we're finally happy with the way the bed is, that they named Scoob.
Scoob?
Yeah.
Wait, so SCOOB or SCUB?
Yeah. So it's called Scoob, and I told the guys, I said, I don't know why, but the name Scoob makes me laugh, so I'm gonna write this song about Scooby-Doo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, you're not gonna be able to tell it's about Scooby-Doo if you listen to what I'm saying, you know, but it's kind of gonna be about like monsters and solving mysteries and stuff like that. I'm not gonna mention Scooby-Doo and Fred or whatever, you know, but I might,
not by name.
I might say like something about a van or something about glasses or something. You know what I mean? Like
something to allude to the fact that
exactly. So like I like to use those working titles as a like motivator to write a story, you know. I mean, seeing that the name of the band is Big Story, I like to kind of like take that challenge to like not just write about everyday things, but kind of just be creative in what I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah. So actually, I just had that conversation with like another band that was in here, and we were talking about like, you know, lyrical content and like how to pull from that. And I was talking about how I really admire like people who are able to do anything else other than like first person perspectives, because that's all I've ever been like able to do, or like at my strongest was like writing, just like, oh, it's easy to write because I can pull from exactly what I felt and stuff like that. But being able to like take something like that, an idea like that, and it's like, okay, let me figure out how to write a story that's cohesive, that still draws on those same emotions, that could still invoke that same like type of like feeling with people, but it's literally something that I'm making up. You know what I mean? Like it's not it doesn't necessarily have to be something actually that happened to me. Like I'm trying to pull something, and I feel like that's super, not only is like, is it difficult, but it's like it does flex like that creative muscle even more, you know, not just like how to write the song, but it's like, oh, now you have to create an actual like story to go with it.
And it is cool like that. I when I talk to people about songwriting, I say try to say what you're trying to say without ever saying it, if that makes any sense.
Wait, do it one more time.
Try to say what you're trying to say without ever saying it.
Yeah.
You know, like if the goal of the song is I miss you, don't ever say I miss you. But say like, there's a lump in the pillow next to me every morning that makes me sad, or 3:33 is the time that we used to whatever, or I'm trying to think, like when I'm in my bed, I take my body pillow and pretend it's you or something. Yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like obviously within the context of lyrics, but like those are some examples of like what I'm trying to get at. I can give you an example in the current song. There's a song called Vista, right? Yeah. Which is clearly a breakup song.
That's my favorite out of the EP.
Thank you, man.
I love that song.
So that was a collaborative effort between Dave Ross, me, and Randy, the old singer. Cool. That's the only song on the EP that Randy still had any credit for, and we did give him credit for it. So. Awesome. But there's the second line in the first verse, which just says, "I'm painting pictures, they hurt too much. In them, you're never alone." That was a way of me to say, like, I mean, I'm sure everybody's felt like this sometime, where you're like, you're starting to like somebody and you're starting to like groove and jive or whatever the cool kids are saying these days. And then you start worrying. Like if you can actually trust this person. Maybe they're ghosting, or maybe their text has gone cold, or maybe you can just feel it, and like especially with people who overthink, like myself.
Present company included.
Yeah. You start to paint all of these scenarios, like they're with somebody else or whatever, right? So that's what that line means.
Oh shit! Okay,
you know what I mean? Like. It says, "I won't leave you a message. You won't pick up your phone. I'm painting pictures. They hurt too much. In them, you're never alone."
Wow.
Right. So what that's supposed to say is like, you're not responding, and I'm going nuts thinking about what you're doing instead of talking to me.
Yeah, that's holy shit. Okay, see, and I was just about to. So that's writing stuff like that, like you were saying, not saying it directly, like I'm not saying it. Causes what happened, what I just happened. Like the moment where I got it, the relation to what you were saying, like I was like, oh shit, like that's a really cool way to fucking express that. Yeah. Cause like that perfectly kind of like encapsulates that. Cause you do that. Like,
everybody does that. And if you haven't ever felt like that, you're lying.
or you've learned how to deal with it. I don't know. Teach me. Cause no. But it's That's a cool way to write, to write lyrics and write things to, again, not directly, because sometimes you can do it. I mean, there's a blend to like everything, but it's really cool when you hear a line and it's interpreted in such a way where you're like, oh, this is how much this. It just makes that feel, the emotion more vivid.
Of course.
And it makes that part of the song even like more emotional.
It also makes it more interesting to listen to, because you have to kind of figure out what the artist is trying to say. Like one of my favorite lyricists, Matty Healy, man, from 1975. He's got his own way of being himself, and being very British, because a lot of his references are British, right? From British culture and stuff. And I would listen to it and I'd be like, what is he trying to say? And then I'd go look up what that phrase meant, and then they're like, oh, it's a British colloquial term or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense now. But that's kind of like what I like to do. I basically analyze what things that I like musically, lyrically, from other people, what they're doing. Yeah. Right. I guess I saw this video with John Mayer, and he was like, instead of learning the song, learn what makes the song, and then apply it to your own thing. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, that could mean, if you like the way the drums sound, cool, we'll figure out what that kind of drum groove is, and then apply it to something new, right? Or you like the production, Billie Eilish, for example, has awesome production ideas. Yeah. She's got, like in Bury a Friend, she's got like a dentist drill and a stapler and a shovel and like all this cool side sound thing. And it makes the song creepier, Yeah. So it's like, whatever it is you like about the song, whether it be something you're writing or something you're listening to, just take those elements of what it is that you like and apply them to whatever it is you're creating.
Yeah.
That's my approach on it anyway.
I mean, I think that's definitely like a really good approach, because I mean, we end up doing it unconsciously, I think. Sometimes, like, you know, like it with all the influences, like everything we're like listening to, watching, whatever, like we get that. But it looks like you do it a little bit more with like purpose. Like there's a lot of like listening with purpose, and like, oh, like let me, like the whole thing about like, hey, let me figure out what I like about this and then apply that. It's a little more direct approach to that, because I've done it and not realized it till after someone else points it out, and it's like, oh, like this, and I'm like, you're right, that is where that like.
A lot of people are like that, and the same thing. It's like a lot of people have told me I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So much so that now I'm doing it on purpose.
Oh, gosh.
You know what I mean? Like I've had those conversations with people where they're like, "Oh yeah, dude, that sounds like this," and I was like, "You know what? You're right. I just did it without thinking about it." And then like now that I have to write everything, well, not everything, but now that I have to write like the lyrics and the melodies and all that kind of stuff, now I do it with more purpose. You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, if you wanted to talk about the songs in the EP, I didn't write. I mean, I would say a good 80% of the lyrics and melodies are mine.
Okay.
Not including Teardrop, obviously, that's a cover.
Yeah.
But Dave and Ross also wrote quite a bit. It's kind of interesting because, like I told you, we've got like a bunch of song beds in our email. Excuse me, and I normally take them and like write to them. So like GTFO started as a guitar idea by Dave. And then I wrote to it. Panasia, yes, it's a joke. Get over it. It's from Louis C.K. Louis C.K. said that, you know, two penises is called Panasia.
That's a correct term, I think.
I don't think it is, but it's funny and it's rock and roll, and you know, it was a working title that just stuck. Yeah. I mean, what was I going to call that song now? Run? Boring, right?
Panasia is way more interesting.
Yes, exactly. So that one I actually wrote all of. So that one is like mine from my brain. Vista, like I said, was written by four of us. Stare was started by an idea by Ross. So it's crazy, like every song started from someone else.
And then like someone else came in to finish it, or like you came in to finish it?
I came in to finish them, and some of the new stuff is the same way. So it's like it always starts with an idea, and then we bring it to the thing. And I could show you, I mean, it's crazy. Like I've got friends that I've been showing this music to since it was, as I call it, in its baby stage. Yeah. You know, and if you were to listen to what Stare's chorus sounded like way before it was this aggressive, it was way more emo sounding, a little too emo sounding. And so we were just like, let's not do that. Yeah. You know, because the song is like angry, you know, and it was like, it didn't make sense for it to be that emo sounding. And that's the thing, is like, that's kind of like my thing, you know, like I a lot of people think emo is a negative term. I don't. I kind of grew up with the emo phase, you know, you know, I grew up, my high school was like, you know, Finch and Taking Back Sunday and, you know, that kind of stuff. And obviously I went back and dug deeper to like the roots of it, to like Sunny Day Real Estate and Fugazi and stuff like that. And I love all of that music. But that's a problem sometimes with these dudes, is they don't want to be an emo band. And I don't either. Yeah. But like, I want to be what happens when all three of us come together, and it's got a little bit of emo and a little bit of metal and a little bit of rock, and it's kind of like a hodgepodge of everything. Let's just kind of put it in a pot and see what happens, you know? Yeah. Do you get that from the EP?
The like the
emo tendency?
A little bit, yeah. Cool. But I don't think it's like anything over.
No, it's not.
And it's, again, like you were saying, it's not like a negative term. Like, I think if you like, people who view it as a negative term, like associate it with like a certain like maybe like band that they don't like or something, and that's all emo is to this, or emo like as a fashion sense, or emo is like the you know, whatever the actual image of emo was at the time or whatever. But when you break it down to like what, like, you know, songs are, because like whatever like I picture like as emo right now, and then like look at like what Midwestern emo is now. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
fucking
totally different.
Totally different. But it's I mean, emo what short for emotional. That's like literally at the basis of it, which I'm like, it's all music.
All
like,
music is
all
emotional.
music is emotional. Like the best kinds are, you mean, like the ones that I enjoy and everything, like have that, like invoke whatever like emotion that is, like, you know what I mean, like the emo ones tend to be a little more like on the sadder side, sure, like maybe that's like your highlighting thing for emo, but it's all about just invoking that emotion. But so was there kind of difficulty? So your song, like, you know, someone starts the song and then like you're, you know, you were like finishing like all these songs. Was there, and then there's a little, from what you explained, like a little pushback. Was there like any like tough times where like there was a lot pushback on like what you were trying to do?
Yeah, of course. This is the first time that all three of us have written an album together. So Ross built a studio, and then we recorded and did everything in that studio.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
So we did everything together. There was a very big learning process, and it was crazy because like. I mean, I butted heads with the guys a couple times, you know, and like at the end of the day, like I can take criticism and I can grow from it, and they can too. And so it's just like, yeah, so we butted heads or whatever, but at the end of the day, we all know that we all want what's best for the music, right? Yeah. So whether it is one of the guys being like, oh man, you know, I like your idea, but I want you to try my idea. Cool. You know, a lot of singers, like I've been in other bands where I'm not the singer and I've been this guy. So like, you know, like, a lot of singers will be like, no, my idea, like you write the music, blah, right? And I'm not like that. I'm like, look, I strongly disagree with you, but I'll give it a shot. I'll record it and then we can sit and touch it, you know? And for in the case of Stare, that was the case. We were like, hey, you know, this is cool, but like the chorus isn't hard enough. And Dave, because the song is about social media. It's about how all of us are glued to your phones or whatever. And everyone's like that, myself included. I can't escape it. I as much as I hate TikTok, I also am addicted to it. So, Dave like told me, he's like, you know what? I just thought of, you know, like, what if you could incorporate the phrase like stare until you die? You know, it's like, because like that's what it's like. Like we're all just gonna like be glued to our phones until we die. You know, we're just wasting time. He's like, I woke up the other day, and I had realized that I was scrolling through my phone for 2 hours before I got out of bed. Yeah, and that happens. It's crazy how that happens. You'll be just scrolling through your phone, and 2 hours is a long time.
It's a long time.
You know, and I'm sure. Do you do that at all?
So yeah, I didn't want to like interrupt, but you're sorry, but like that's like, so I deleted TikTok earlier this year because I have it back on, but like the break, like, because then one night I stayed on it, like I got home, stayed on it. I was like 7 and I got on my phone and then I looked again and it was 10. I'm like, that's 3 fucking hours. Yeah, man. I'm acting like I have this time to waste. Like I don't. Like I have so much shit to do. I go and I am wasting 3 hours and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I went to bed or whatever. And then the next morning I wake up, turn off my alarm, just grab my phone immediately. I open it up and I start scrolling. I'm like, fuck this. Yeah. And I deleted it then and there. I'm like, I need a detox of this. And like, I went like a good like month, maybe like 5 weeks or something. And then I got it back and it helped out because now I get on it and then like maybe like 5-10 minutes I'm like, I'm bored, and then I could take it out. Like, you know, so it took like me having to just completely go away from it because it is really. And then TikTok, the good and bad thing about it is that their algorithm is fucking amazing. Yeah. Like it knows exactly like, hey, if you stay, I don't even know how it works, but I know like I think it counts like how long you stay on something for a bit and immediately like goes something else. It your mic is on at all times. You hear about that? Yep. And like so it hears whatever you're listening to. It's like, oh, okay, you're watching this. I'll play something like that later. It tracks everything on your phone. Your phone, like where your finger is. Yeah. Also. Yeah. It is pretty fucking scary. Yeah, it's you really look at nightmare fuel. Yeah. But yeah, so he's the one who came up with that lyric of "Stare until you die." I mean, obviously, like he brought that to me, and I had a whole singing chorus for that song, by the way, and I just scrapped it, and I was like, I want that to be the main thing. So now it's all like screaming and like, wake up, guys, you know.
but it is what it is.
But that's like where you, based on the theme of the song, like you have to pick what's gonna work best for like that take. Like how is this point gonna be driven across the best? Like I could sing these, but if it's something sounded pretty, then it might make me like, oh, like okay, that's cute, stare into it like that. Or you know, whatever. Like the message would get like lost or whatever.
The lyrics weren't "Stare Until You Die" before.
Oh, they weren't. Okay.
No, it was a completely different chorus. It was trying to like, you know, it was trying to have the same message, but it wasn't as angry or aggressive, you know, because death is aggressive and angry, you know? Yeah. So, but yeah, man, you know, I think about that kind of stuff a lot when I write, and I have like, I'm sure, I don't know if I'm the only one who does this, but as a singer, but I have like a couple of people whose ears I trust. Paco Estrada being one of them. Shout out Paco, you're a G. But we brought him in and had him listen, and he gave us a couple of little pointers. Daniel is another one from Werewolf. I bounce a lot of ideas off of him, and at the end of the day, whether or not I follow their advice is my choice. Yeah. But I like when I have a thing to like have somebody else tell me that I'm on the right track. I feel like if you don't do that, it's kind of like an ego thing.
Yeah, and then you end up in like these feedback loops where you're like, you know, if you're the only one listening to it, then you're the only one telling yourself like, yeah, I like this, it's good. And it's just good to have perspectives. You know what I mean? Like, how is somebody else hearing this? Like, I know the way I hear it because like I know how I wrote it. I know what I'm trying to communicate, and I hear those things because I purposely sing these notes in this way. But somebody who isn't in your brain, like, are they hearing it like I am hearing it? And just being able to hear like, okay, what do you take from this? And yeah, sometimes people will be like, yeah, I do hear like that. Or if I ever like, you know, send anything like that to someone, I don't preface it with anything. I was like, what do you like listen, like what do you hear with this and that? And like to hear it just blank. It's like never like just oh, it's good or bad. It's like, oh, this is what I hear. That's like, what do you hear? Like, what do you feel? This and that. And then if it's something completely than what I was writing, it's like, okay, like, let's look at more people. If it's someone I trust, and I'm like, okay, I maybe need to revisit and see if I need to tackle it from another way or sing something different or write something different. But yeah, if you don't have like a trusted group of like, and don't do it, it feels like a little ego thing because maybe you don't want to hear somebody else disagreeing with what you like. Or
you think it's that good.
Yeah.
Which is also a thing.
It's probably also,
you should probably check yourself. You know, I mean, I try to like not be that kind of person, but yeah, like a lot of people, I hope, you know, do that because I mean, it definitely makes, I think, my writing process and all of that better when I have other people being like, oh yeah, this is cool. Yeah. You know, also like for me, you know, jumping into the role of being the voice of this band where they have already existed and already had success in the past, you know, for me to be up there and like, it was a lot of pressure, man. Yeah. You know, I remember the day that happened, you know, I was like, okay, well, what do we do now? You know, do we start a new band? And they're like, no, man, it's cool. You can, it's cool. And I was like, okay, well, do we get another singer? And they're like, nah, man, you do it. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, really. I was like, all right. Yeah. You know? And so like it's been a big change for me. Like I've sang before. I've like done lead singing things, you know, but I haven't been the voice of a band before. So this was like my first time to do it. So, you know, you gotta figure out how to do it by being bad, I guess, you know? You know, that's how you get good at everything. You suck at it first, right? Yeah. So, you know, having those voices kind of be like, yeah, man, this is cool, you know? Like voices that you trust are really cool, you know? And then, you know, there's like, I sent it to my family and my brother always has something to say about it. And so my brother told me, oh, yeah. And, you know, whatever. He was like, yeah, I like what you're doing, but, you know, you need to fix this. And I was like, okay, cool. Thanks, bro. Really?
That's an older brother?
Yeah, older brother.
Yeah, sounds about right. Oh, I don't have any siblings, but I'm still like that. That's older brothers. You always gotta keep you on your toes, man.
Yeah, man. Like my mom too. My mom, every time I show my mom something, she's always has to say something about it, always has to criticize something. Yeah. And I actually talked to, do you know the band Loathe? Yeah. I'm obsessed with Loathe. I think they're great. So they have a song called Two-Way Mirror. Do you know that one?
I think I've heard that one, yeah.
So that one lyrically is about his relationship with his dad. Okay. And I feel like the most powerful thing there in that song is he says, just say I know. Okay. And I don't know if anyone's had these kind of talks with their parents where they get really excited about something. You talk to your parent about it and then they say something negative.
Yeah.
And like all you want them to do is be like, I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where you're like, you really just want like someone to be supportive that you're excited about something.
Yes.
You know, like, hey, like I like am loving this. And I think from what I've spoken, so I've had these like conversations with my mom, like I was playing in a band and stuff like that. She was always my harshest critic. Although she was pretty right at the beginning. I was very terrible, like singing. It took a while for me to get it, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, like you're right, you suck at it for like a while, you know? But when I realized that she was bringing up like criticism, things like that, it took a while for me to get it. But for me, and I think we did talk about it one time, and then in her eyes, that's her trying to be supportive because she's like, I want you to do somewhat. So it came out of love somewhere, but I'm like, you're right. At times it's like, I didn't need the criticism. You know what I mean? Like it's at the end of the day, like, cause like, that's why like when people like send me stuff, unless they like, you're asking for a critique, like I'm not going to critique it. Like, and most of the time it's just, especially like if you're not asking for a critique, that means you're not asking for any part. You're just like, oh, I just want you to listen to it. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So I'll listen to it. And I'll say if I like it or if I don't, but nothing like specific, like, oh, you should do this here, this and that. I was like, no, you didn't ask for that. You know what I mean? So most of the time I'm just like excited. And with like, I have so many like fucking friends that are like musicians, stuff like that. Like all I want to do is like support, because I don't care, because it's not my music or it's not my like art. And I don't know how it's being written. What's the purpose of it? What do you want out of it? So I can't like tell you how to create something that you're making, I'm not making. I mean, and I feel like with like what's helped me a lot of that is like sitting in on a lot of like people's sessions and stuff like that, because like I'll see songs and be like, oh, I was like, I would write it like this, and then see someone completely do something different and it's really good, and I'm like, I just need to shut the fuck up. like I was like, that's why I'm like, I'm not telling anybody anything.
And that was like the biggest challenge I think of this EP that we just put out was finding the best flow for the sessions, because like I said, we've never written music together.
Yeah.
You know, and some of the challenges when you've never written music together is that you'll stifle someone's creativity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. That happens to everybody. Anyone that's ever been in a recording session in a band or whatever knows that, where you're recording a vocal line and you haven't even gotten your idea out, and somebody else in the band is like, you know what, you need to sing it like this, or you need to do this, and like it's infuriating because you were already like, you're like, yeah, but I wanted to do something and now I can't do it because I'm so angry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or I'm so distracted, or I'm whatever. And then those are like little rules that like you kind of have to, not rules is a terrible word, little like nuances that you have to do back and forth before like the vibe and the flow of the session gets to like where stuff actually gets done.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, you're right. You're figuring out just how to work with each other. Like, like for example, that it's like, hey, I'm not saying I'm against for you introducing a new idea here, but you let me wait till like my brain finishes doing this one. Is like, and then like, let's listen back to it. Now you can actually hear what I was trying to do versus like you assuming you know where I'm going with this line or this like melody or whatever I'm like recording is like in your head you're like, oh, it's not gonna work, and you're not even done with it. So it's like you're judging a half idea. Like you're not even like you're waiting for the entire thing to be done.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Like you're judging a half idea.
Yeah.
I haven't delivered it the way I want to deliver it. I haven't even finished what I'm trying to say. Like or the melody isn't done, you know? Like but no, honestly it was a great time. We've been working on it a while. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. You know, I can't thank those two dudes enough for like trusting me to, Dave and Ross, by the way, for trusting me to like, you know, grab it by the horns and drive the truck, I guess.
I mean, it's a big deal, like you're saying. Like they're like, you know, established band before, and then like, you know, lead singer like is gone now. It's like, okay, what do we do now? And then completely entrusting you to be like, so it's definitely a big like vote of confidence they put into like you for to be like, hey, you can take over and like and we're gonna keep going. And
we're a 3-piece, so like it's tough.
Yeah,
it's hard out here.
Is a 3-piece like harder? Like
yeah, man. I think it is. I think it is a lot harder because everyone has to work really hard to sound full. You know what I mean? So you don't have the thickness of the guitar because you don't have two
'Cause you only have
guitars.
2 guitars.
Right? I have to limit what I write vocally because I have to play bass. Right?
Yeah.
So I can't write these crazy bass parts if I'm going to be singing on top of it because I don't. Okay, I was about to badmouth a 3-piece band that I'm not going to do that. A big one too.
Oh no!
But there's a 3-piece band out there who shall remain nameless that write amazing music. But when you go watch them live, they're struggling.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who. I don't like talking bad about people. But you could tell. I mean, they're still amazing live, but you can tell that they're struggling. And I didn't want that. I wanted to. Like when I'm writing something, I want to be comfortable. I want to have fun performing it, not be like, just tied to like everything. Everything has to be perfect or whatever, I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does make sense. I was, I've been looking at starting a 3-piece now. I'm like, maybe I should reconsider.
No, do it, man.
No, but I like the dynamic of that, and it's just like the people that I want to work with on it. It's like people who I want to write music with. So I'm like, let me try that out and see. Like, I've never done it, so I like want to.
Are you playing anything or just singing?
I'm supposed to be playing bass, so
Okay.
I like play guitar. Actually, it's funny. I'll talk to you later about it, but I was like gonna ask you, like, oh, do you still do like lessons?
Yeah,
like,
I do. We'll
I
talk.
was like, yeah. But no, like the idea of that, like I've only done like frontman stuff, and I'm like, I feel like it'd be like I've especially with like doing NoiseROT and stuff like that the past year, I've seen so many like bands and stuff like that, and people playing like singing at the same time, like that, like, oh, that seems really fun. But not only that, but then having those moments where you just get to like jam on stage like with everybody while playing stuff. I've been really, really interested in that vibe and singing. And then like what I plan on writing is a lot different than like what I've played in the past, which was like metal. And like, so now I'm like, I want to explore like a whole bunch of different genres.
Do it,
which
man.
I'm like, I just want to have fun. Yeah,
that's the most fun, especially nowadays where you got R&B artists wanting to write rock records, and you have rock artists wanting to do pop. You got like Bring Me the Horizon, which has done everything now.
Yes.
And then you got like Willow, who wants to do rock and roll with Travis Barker.
There's a bunch of like people. Honestly, like I am so fucking for that. Like now,
Me too.
I love. Actually, you know what? Werewolf Therewolf gets brought up on this podcast a lot because I always talk about Be More.
Okay.
The switch that you guys have in the middle of that. Like I bring that up so much. I was like, the fact like it's one complete vibe and then it completely turns into a fucking dance party. Which,
that was random in the studio. We were at the owner of the studio was a Latin percussionist.
Yeah.
And when we were writing that song, we had the guitar riff, but we didn't know what we wanted to do with percussion there. And we were like, hey, bro, just get in there, go nuts.
Yeah.
And he started laying down those percussions.
Oh, okay, cool.
And that's how that happened. Like, it was just in the studio. It wasn't intended to be that way.
I always wondered how did this idea come out of nowhere? Because I'm like, yeah, it gets straight up like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
now,
the
like, to
owner
that
of the
part.
studio was a Latin percussionist.
That's fucking cool.
And we didn't know what to do with it. That's random that you say it that. I mean, I can tie that back to the EP.
Yeah.
But a lot of times in the bridges of songs, people just don't know what to do anymore. Writing a verse and a chorus is easy, right? And then you write another verse and another chorus, which normally is the same melody and it's the same musical idea. And then you get to the bridge, and in the bridge of the song, sometimes it's hard to come up with how to bring it all together.
Yeah.
I can give you the biggest example that everybody knows about, and if you don't know about it, I'm about to educate you. Sweet Child of Mine, Guns N' Roses. Okay, so you got that epic solo, right? And then you got that little breakdown, and what does Axl say in the breakdown?
I'm blanking right now.
Where do we go now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay? That wasn't a lyric that he came up with. That was them jamming and him being like, I don't know what to do. Where do I go?
What the fuck, really?
Yes.
It's so fucking perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they did this epic solo. They start jamming in the room, and he's like, where do I go now? What do I do? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to sing. I don't know what to say. All of our songs are about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and this is about a love song that's real, So that's one example, but there's millions of examples of a lot of people's music. That's just the biggest one that a lot of people know about. The first song, GTFO, we couldn't figure out what to do with the bridge, right? So I was like, you know what, like, let me write a vocal part. Cool. We wrote a vocal part. We all hated it, you know?
Yeah.
So, and he's like, cool. Well, I was like, you know what? Screw vocals here. The music's cool. Dave, do a guitar solo. So he wrote a guitar solo. We all hated it. You know what I mean? And it was like,
oh, fuck.
And so I was like, okay, well, let me try this idea. And let me try this idea. And then what we were doing, we were like, you know what? We're going to put them all in there. We're going to put all of the ideas in the bridge, and then we're going to solo each idea to see which one's the best one, you know?
Yeah.
So we would listen to the bridge with just the vocal. Nah, whatever. We would listen to the bridge with just the guitar solo. Nah, whatever. And one time we hit the button and everything was on.
Yeah.
And we were like, fuck it.
Like that would.
So like if you listen to the bridge of GTFO, it's just a hodgepodge of everyone's idea together.
Yeah.
You know?
Fuck it. Like, it works.
I don't know if it works or it doesn't, but that's what we did. You know?
I mean, that's a difficult part in like songwriting in general. It's just like finding like when am I gonna be like okay
done.
with like
when,
done?
When
and
is
then,
it done?
Like when is it done? And the thing is, you could trap yourself in it never being done. Like you could get there and being like, oh, well, I can do this or this and that. Or
I can make it better. I can still make it better.
Yeah, and you probably maybe could in a certain aspect, but in a certain aspect you might not. You know what I mean? Like it's whatever you're adding might not make the difference, or by the time you're done with it, it's not as meaningful as it was like when you were first. Like that's one thing where like writing, I feel like if you have ideas, like it's good to like strike while they like, you know, what is it, the iron's hot or whatever.
Hot, yeah,
to completely capture that. But I mean, that's shit. If it works, you know what I mean? It works. Like you have to try things. But that's funny. The bridge thing, I didn't know about that. But you're right. Like sometimes you're like, we know it's got to be different than like whatever we've written like in the chorus or the verse, like, but what do you do? And then usually you like that's probably why I'm a big fan of like bridges, because it's always like completely different from the song, and then figuring out how to bring that bridge back into like if you're doing your chorus again or whatever you're going into again is always really beautiful, like to see in like a lot of songs is again, how do you tie that back? Something normally, like I said, normally a bridge is you know the ones that I notice the most like are very different than what like was playing before, and figuring out how to input that there, and then like also again tie it back and make sure it makes sense
in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. And like a lot of my friends, you know, Daniel included kind of taught me that, you know, or not taught me, but we like talk about it a lot, how a song when you read it narratively should make sense.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people don't think so, but I do. I want you to be able to read it, and even if it's weird, that it makes sense from start to finish. You know, a lot of people don't care. You know, a lot of people are just like, they just say what they want to say.
Like lyrically, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They just say what they want to say, and you know, they could go, you know, typewriter, machine gun, couch, stripes, whatever, and make music that way, and that's super cool.
Yeah.
I don't work that way at all. You know,
it's got to make. I feel like it helps.
My point is, some people don't care about the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, some people just want to hear something pretty or something catchy or something that they can quote unquote throw their ass to.
Damn. Yeah, I know that feeling, man.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm more like lenient. That's gonna sound weird. Lenient into pop music as of like the last recent years. I've not been against it, but I've always like been like, oh, it's super. I've given it its place now, basically. Like, hey, like I know like a lot of it's super similar and like how it ran, like the whole 4 chords thing, where like a bunch of the pop music's and that. I go, but there is an art to that. You know, you do make it catchy, but at the same time, I find myself like, oh yeah, but most of these songs like I don't remember. Like they're good. Like I'll hear them and be like, this is fucking great, because it catches your attention. It keeps it for like whatever long. But as far as like, and it has like replay value in the moment, but then like, you know, next year you'll have a new batch of like the same
more. Okay, so there's simplicity that is good, and then there's being so simple that it's great, and then there's being so simple that it's garbage. Do you know what I mean?
It's a delicate balance.
yeah, and it's really, really subjective of to which is which, but I completely agree with you with pop music. People ask me like, what kind of music do you listen to? And I say, whatever, as long as it's good.
Yeah.
It's what I say.
I mean, it's true. Yeah.
Because I like hip hop, I like pop, I like rock, I like metal, I like, you know, Japanese K-pop, whatever, and Japanese metal and stuff like that. I listen to all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is that when you have something that's so simple without any substance, right? Something that was manufactured to be good.
Yeah.
It doesn't have what we call staying power.
Yeah.
It's like your single serving of awesomeness, and then you just wrote do you know who Bo Burnham is?
Yeah.
Okay, so Bo Burnham has that song where he makes fun of the love songs.
Oh yeah.
Where I like your eyes and their bluish, brownish, greenish color. I like that you have two arms, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you write that cookie cutter love song, right? And it doesn't have any staying power because it's been said before the same way by a million people.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have that's what I think that. So I think that maybe dubstep or maybe emo were the last new real genres of music. Okay. I think everything else has just been copying each other recently. I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing because music is copying. That's what it is. I think I want to say it was Andy Warhol that said this, but I'm not sure. So if I misquote this, I'm sorry. But
calling you out.
That's fine. Call me out. Correct me, please. I love knowing stupid things like that. But they say that a good artist creates, a great artist steals.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that emo was the last new thing, right? Because everything is derived from either blues, rock and roll, or metal. And metal has evolved so much.
Oh God. Yeah.
You think about the earliest metal bands, some people say it's Black Sabbath. Some people say it's Metallica, Pantera, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, stuff like that, right? And those are all very, very different sounding bands.
Yeah.
And then you listen to what metal is now, and it's now you have subgenres of metal.
Every fucking subgenre.
Yeah, you got
metal.
power metal and speed metal and thrash metal and death metal and Nordic operatic metal or whatever you want to call it, right? And then you got your rock and roll, and then you had new metal, and you had dad rock, and all that butt rock, some people call it.
Butt rock.
And so you have all that stuff, and then you had grunge, and then you had emo, right? And then you had emo core and hardcore and post-hardcore and whatever subgenre you want to call it. It's still just music with guitars. And I think that that's what's cool about rock and roll and metal and stuff like that is it's real people doing real things.
Yeah.
And I talk to people about that all the time. I'm like, I like listening to real music. And they get offended. And I'm like, I'm not saying pop music isn't real music. What I'm saying is I'd rather listen to real people playing real instruments than a person hitting a space bar and singing a karaoke track.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have no problem with what, people like Justin Bieber or Post Malone or whatever, if they don't tour with a band and they do that, they're still really good entertainers. Post Malone is a phenomenal singer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love Posty, but it's not the same for me to go to I've been to electronic shows and I have fun at them, but it's more fun for me to check out musicianship.
Yeah.
I think that's because I'm a musician, and I feel like me being a musician influences the fact that I want people to be musicians.
Yeah.
Is that weird to think about?
No, because I have a very similar thing of watching live bands. So I've seen solo artists. So there's so I just talked to this artist named Yasmin who is a just solo R&B artist, but live full band.
Okay.
Full band, keyboardist, got a horn section with
Awesome.
with a sax and everything. And I'm hearing the tracks that you have that are just R&B tracks with instrumentals or whatever, but hearing that live with an actual live this is just a different energy for it. And
100%.
I think just coming from you're right, a musician background, it's what I know, so I'm I want to see all music perform like that. Even I've seen when hip hop acts, instead of using their instrumentals, use a band. I'm
that's way better.
The whole for
way
me
better.
personally,
This homie.
I've seen that live
right
show
there.
and it's so
Phenomenal.
fucking cool. Yeah, I don't know if it shows on camera, but there's a Childish Gambino album up there. And yeah, I've seen that live show with a full band. He was doing it from when he started.
Yeah,
was doing,
because he
live
knows.
Band. Yeah, and it was just so
he's an
fucking
artist.
yeah. It was just so fucking cool.
In my opinion, that's the most talented guy in Hollywood, man.
that dude's creative as hell. Like, is writing, and then the guy he works, because even like the guy he works with, like his producer, or whatever, is fucking. Well, the most of the records that I knew was Ludwig Göransson, which like does like fucking movie scores and all this stuff. So like instrumentation wise, I saw the breakdown, like the little genius breakdown of like Redbone, and hearing everything on that fucking record, and they were like, this dude has all the instruments. I think it was like very few like actual like digital components to it, but it was like everything, like this is all with purpose and it comes together. I'm like, dude, that's so fucking creative, and it's so cool to see, you know what I mean? Because this is just like a few artists instead of like you're right, you get into like the cookie cutter recipes where you hear it and sound it. I'm like, I've heard this song like multiple artists and it's the same people, and again, like there's an art to that. There's a reason why those tracks pop off and stuff like that. But one thing that it comes down to for me when I look at any like the artists that I enjoy, all that stuff, it's just the feeling of authenticity, the feeling that I am listening to an actual person, not just like I'm writing something to be as relatable as possible to the widest, like, you know, group. That's why I think when you come from like writing lyrics from a place of, you know, actual like emotion and things like that, you captivate more people, and those are the songs that stick. That years later you're like, this song means something to me because one, you know, like where it came from, and whatever the lyrical. I mean, for me, like lyrical content like is super important on the songs that I end up like really loving. Now there's a lot of like bands that I like, and I realize that I've heard like some songs and I feel like the emotion's been captured like in my head, but I don't know the lyrics. But like when I go to concerts, I sing whatever melodies that I know, because for some reason that emotion was still captured like with whatever like the instrumentation and like the melodies of the vocals were. I still feel like, oh, I captured the emotion of whatever that song. And then it's cool to go back and then like, oh, actually read the lyrics. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, okay. Then you interpret that. But there's several ways to interpret like whatever music you want. And then music is like the most fucking subjective thing.
It is 100%. You know, apples and oranges.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no.
I'm talking about things that I like. I'm not necessarily saying that like, if you don't like it, then you're wrong.
That's the attitude that like I felt like. Maybe like when I was younger, like I had like, I was just like, oh, like this is the only thing like to like if you like something else, like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I can only talk about stuff that I like because I'm talking about it from my own perspective, and that's why this song hits with me, because of everything that I've listened to and like, you know, how my taste actually like developed. Like, how am I gonna criticize something you like? And you like it for whatever reason that you do, you know, whatever, like,
we have a saying. We say, don't yuck my yum.
Don't yuck my yum.
Yeah. You know,
I like that. Yeah. And it's and there's no, like, why would you, like, there's no point. There's too much energy in trying to shit on other people's stuff. And for the most part, I can find something I enjoy in everything.
I'm in the same boat.
In like music, you know, I may not, like, it might not be the artist that I have on repeat or stuff like that, but there's a ton of stuff. So like one example, like, I've been bringing up is like the hardcore scene. I never was like in it, never like any like the actual like I was in like the metalcore scene or whatever, but it's completely different. And I always was like, I'm outside of it, I'm not gonna enjoy that. Like you know, like I always felt like I wouldn't fit in. And then I've been going to a couple shows, and like traditionally, like it's not normally something that I'll play over and over, but the shows are fucking fantastic. The energy in those fucking shows are fucking nuts, and I'm like, dude, this is so fucking cool. And then live again. Something about live, just energy, just fucking like you capture that shit, and it's great. And I'm like, yeah, I fucking love that. And then realizing that, and even previously, like, oh, you open yourself up just to way more like interactions with people, or more perspectives, you know what I mean, like, and more like influence into your own creativity. So I think it's important to at least try to listen to other stuff that you're maybe not comfortable or whatever. You know, like I always had the forever like, oh, you know, I hate country and all this stuff. And then like,
I like country.
And then you listen. Then I like started like, and it's like, oh, I just have to find the country that I like.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Because there's, again, you have like and not to say that the pop country is wrong, but like most of that stuff again gets boring. You hear the same. What you were saying, you hear the same subjects and you hear it said the same way.
Yeah, you ever heard that joke about if you rewind a country song?
No.
If you play it backwards? That's I want a country song backwards, because then I'd get my truck back, I'd get my wife back, I'd get my dog back.
Well, then you brought up Bo Burnham. I know he does that too, like the fucking country pandering song.
Yeah,
I'm like,
Bo Burnham's incredible artist, by the way.
Very, fuck yeah. That last special was crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, do you have any other questions about the EP or anything, like if you wanted to know at all? Anything?
That's quite a bit. Well, you had your first. So y'all had your first show.
Since the EP dropped, yes.
Your first show since the EP dropped.
Yes.
How did that feel being able to perform those songs for the first time?
So we had performed them already before then.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yes, but there wasn't that, shiny lacquer of polish that we have during the record. So like the songs were way more full at this last show.
Okay.
With, some sampling and some more background vocals and some more of that. So like that was the first time we had put it all together, and it felt pretty good to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like all of us are itching to get back on the road and get back on, the circuit and playing shows, Texas or anywhere else, So like I'm excited to start doing that again.
Yeah, I fucking bet, especially like writing that EP. Like I said, I was a fan when I first, like, you showed me this the first stuff. It was like a lot different than what I was used to like hearing, like you playing before with Werewolf. So I was like interested in like how it was gonna go. And then I actually didn't know you had taken over like actually lead vocals until like you told me. So I was trying to figure out, because I had never heard your vocals solely. So like when I heard the EP, I didn't know that you had like taken over, so I was like thinking, I was trying to figure out which voice was used, and then you told me, it's like, oh no, they're me, like these are me. I'm like, wait, I went back and listened to it, and I'm like, oh shit, like okay, like I really like this, because I thought you were still doing like just the backup vocals, but no, I really like, you have a really nice voice that fits really well with like the songs that y'all wrote, and that EP is really good. So I'm excited to see more stuff being written by you for this project.
You're not gonna have to wait before this year. There'll be more.
Oh my gosh, an exclusive here.
Yeah, no. So our goal is to have another one out before the end of the year.
Fuck yes.
We're shooting for like October.
Nice. All right. Anything else you have going on at the moment that you want to announce? I know we're gonna wrap up here in a second.
Musically or
whatever you want.
I mean, that's it. We're writing some more stuff right now. I mean, we're like starting on 3 of them right now. We're shooting for another 5 before October.
Okay.
That's what I can say right now, because we'll see how it goes, right?
A lot more secret stuff that you got.
Yeah, you know how it is.
Can't give everything away. You have to wait on it. But man, I really appreciate you stopping by. Honestly, like
anytime,
it's
man.
Really cool. Yeah. We need to do. I was gonna say we need to do this more often, but like, dude, we need to hang out more. I feel like after like the pandemic threw off like the whole rhythm and stuff like that. But
it's been crazy. It's been crazy. Like the fact that some legendary venues here are gone now. Because of the pandemic.
Yeah, dude, Deep Ellum is a completely different fucking place. You're repping Deep Ellum right now.
Deep Ellum right now. This is
it makes me sad.
It makes us all sad, man. The fact that the Curtain Club, which is like Dallas's Whiskey A Go Go.
It's a
wing place now. Hurts me to my core.
Dude, I brought this story. So Bernice, one of my friends, we were walking in Deep Ellum, and she looks over to it, and it's like that wing place, and she's like, "Look how they massacred my boy." I'm like, "You're right, dude. Like all these venues are gone. The entire vibe of that place is completely way different. It's so fucking packed now.
Yeah, man, it's scary.
When I tried it, so that night I found parking pretty easy when I went to see y'all at 3 Links, and I went to a show the next day at 3 Links again. Took me fucking like half an hour. Like I couldn't do it. I had to use the fucking parking garage. It was like fucking $20. It's this whole like different vibe to it that I'm like, oh, it's not like the feel that it used to be. I love 3 Links that it's still like there, because like I love that they're open. So if you walk by, you see bands all the time. And I used to always walk by, like when I was in Deep Ellum, be able to see bands play out there. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that has changed, and unfortunately, you got to roll with it, man. But everybody playing, going to shows and stuff like that is what really keeps like the music scene alive.
Hopefully it should come home in full swing, because I missed going to a show every weekend.
Yeah,
I used to do that. I used to go to a show every weekend.
So that's what I realized. Like I realized like a lot of people that like a lot of my friends, I never had to plan like times to hang out, because we would just see each other when we were out at shows. And I'm like, and when the pandemic happened, I was like, oh, I haven't talked or seen these people in forever, because that was the way we were talking. That was the way we were hanging out, was shows. So like now with organizing shows and going, so now I have like, I'm always at a show either working it, or like now I could just go like for fun. Like, that one I went to by myself, I'm just like, fuck it. Like I want to see like, y'all play, but it was also just like, hey, it was the spirit of like, let's just go see a show to see a show, like, and then have a fun time and see like music and participate in it, because it's such a fucking cool community. Like no matter what genre you're going to, you meet people that like that music. It's the easiest way to get to talk to people. If you're going to see a band that you like and someone next to you is there, it's like they're there to see that band too. Like if you want to strike up a conversation, meet people, and again, you open yourself up to a lot of fucking talented musicians that this town has so much of, like this whole area.
That's why I moved here in the first place.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. Where you move here from?
Monterrey, Mexico.
Hey, wee-wees.
Yeah, I've been here since 2005.
Wow. Okay. For a minute now. Yeah. we're glad you made it here. But yeah, Carlo, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm excited for everything you have going on. I know you're just getting started with like this new, like, chapter and like big story and everything. Oh, man, new chapter and big story.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I didn't do that on purpose.
Nice.
But I'm excited as hell. I'm excited for new music. I'm excited to see y'all play like some more. I know there's few things that you have in the works that are going to be really exciting. But yeah, keep me up to date with all that shit, dude. I'm pumped, but I appreciate you being here. Thank you guys for watching. This has been episode 64 with Carlo Decanini from Big Story. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.
Sounds and breakdowns. Run away together while we still can.